Hello, good morning, everybody. We are ready to start in a few minutes the informal ministerial meeting here in Riga under the Latvian presidency that I would like to thank for the excellent and very efficient and politically wise cooperation. Today we will discuss with the ministers, first of all, Libya, and I think this is a very symbolic and important sign that here in the far east and north of Europe we start our discussion from one issue that is not only of concern of the southern member states but of all European Union, because this is a common threat we are facing. It's a common priority to try to stabilize the country. We will have a direct link with Rabat in Morocco, where Bernardino Leon, with whom I just spoke, is leading the internal dialogue among the different parties. And we will discuss with the ministers all the possible steps that the European Union can do in very concrete terms to support any form of outcome of this dialogue that might come in the coming days, in very concrete terms. Then we will discuss, obviously, the situation in Ukraine. I will report from my telephone call from President Poroshenko yesterday evening. We will have with us the Secretary General of the OSCE, that, as you know, has the main role when it comes to monitoring the ceasefire and the withdrawal of weapons. We will discuss with him what the OSCE needs more to strengthen its role, to make it more effective. And we will obviously also discuss about the European Union way of supporting not only the OSCE but the entire implementation of the Minsk agreement, starting from the trilateral talks that the European Union have together with Ukrainians and the Russians, both on energy and gas and on trade. We will continue our works on the preparation on the Riga summit of the Eastern Partnership. That is going to be a crucial event of this presidency, but also of the European Union as such, and of our partners to the East. And we will conclude the day with an informal dinner where we also have our candidate countries represented. Ministers from our candidate countries will join us not only for tonight but also for tomorrow morning for a formal session of our works. You have questions?
Overnight,
Surprise.
the US government said, members of the US government sent a letter to President Obama saying that the US government should arm the Ukrainian army, that the European Union is not doing enough. What do you say to that?
European Union is doing enough, not only enough. Obviously you can always do more and better. That's life, that's politics, and that's in particularly true when it comes to conflicts around us and on European territory. But I can say, also out of my telephone call with President Poroshenko yesterday, that all the efforts we are doing on the ground in Kiev, with our delegation, with the support we are giving to the implementation of the Minsk agreement, is the way to go forward. What Ukraine needs now is not only the full respect of its sovereignty, of its territorial integrity, but it's also peace. And we have to work all together on these two dimensions, the full respect of the sovereignty of a country and a political solution to bring peace in the country. I think all the Ukrainians are very much aware of the fact that the humanitarian situation in the east is dramatic. That Ukraine needs to move forward and is ready to move forward. And the European Union effort in that is, on one side, assisting the Ukrainian authorities, because we are doing that also when it comes to the reform of the security sector. We have a mission there from December 1st, so quite some months ago. But now we have to concentrate our efforts on making the Minsk agreement implemented. This is priority number one.
L'interrogazione di Renzi sulla questione della Libia all'ONU, come supporto che ha chiesto ieri.
Maybe we do the English first and then we move to the Italian.
Will the EU stay united on sanctions?
I don't.
Will the EU stay united on the topic of sanctions towards Russia?
We always stayed united. We always continue to stay united. So this is not always easy, but it is always necessary. We know very well, all our member states know very well, that unity is our strength, is our most effective reaction. It's also our most effective action when it goes to positive measures we can put in place to implement the agreement. And also on sanctions, we will stay united for sure.
What do you make of the move by Cyprus to open its harbour to Russian
I won't comment on that. It's not a matter we'll discuss in the...
What about the Greek position on sanctions?
Listen, I had 2 foreign ministers meeting and 1 European Council in the last month and a half since the new Greek government is in office. And actually, I think the first Foreign Affairs Council we had in the end of January was the first international or European meeting of any member of the Greek government, and it worked perfectly well. The attitude and the approach of the Greek foreign minister has been so far extremely constructive, has contributed a lot to our unity, and I count on this to continue. I talk to him very oftenly, as I do with all my colleagues. We call each other, I would say, not all of them every day, but with a quite intense pace. And I think this contributes a lot to our common understanding. And I'm confident that we're going to continue to work in a very constructive way altogether. Our differences are there, obviously, but I think there can be a richness if we respect these differences and we focus on the concrete decisions we need to take together.
Can I ask you about the perceived threat from Russia to the Baltic states? Does that sharpen the focus here?
For sure, even if I noticed that I started by saying that the first issue on the agenda today of the ministers, and this is something we agreed with the Latvian presidency, is going to be Libya, and your questions are all about Russia. But still, yes, sure, there is a focus. We are 28 and we differ by geography, by history, by politics. The debate is rich not only among member states but also within member states. That's part of our democracy. And for sure in the Baltics, but not only in the Baltics, in this part of Europe, the focus is clearly on the perceived threats and also on the long-term relations we have to rethink with Russia. Yesterday I was in Helsinki, and obviously the core part of our discussion with all our interlocutors was about that. Not only the immediate challenges we have, but also how do we develop the strategic thinking, the strategic relations. And relations doesn't mean partnership, don't get me wrong, between the European Union and the Russian Federation. In the end of the day, when we are restarting and committing ourselves to the trilateral dialogues, being it on trade, being it on energy, it's not only a way of facilitating this process for the Ukrainians, but it's also a way of being aware of the fact that there is a broader picture we have to take in mind.
Sì, qual è la sua speranza sulla Libia? Un colloquio in corso, ancora a Rabat, e soprattutto se appoggia questa posizione, questa richiesta del Presidente del Consiglio Renzi ieri sulla Libia all'ONU.
Ho appena parlato con Bernardino Leon, che sta conducendo questo sforzo a Rabat per un dialogo nazionale. Sta andando abbastanza bene, è chiaro che ci vorrà tempo e che le difficoltà sono molte. E parleremo con Bernardino Leon in collegamento telefonico con i ministri proprio all'inizio della nostra riunione ministeriale, e credo che sia simbolicamente molto importante che la Libia sia al primo punto all'ordine del giorno di questo incontro che si tiene a Riga, cioè nell'est e nel nord dell'Unione Europea, per essere uniti non soltanto quando parliamo di Ucraina e di Russia, ma anche quando parliamo di Mediterraneo e di Libia. Rispetto alle Nazioni Unite, questo è un percorso che abbiamo sviluppato molto insieme fin dall'inizio. Ricordo che soltanto poche settimane fa a Washington io stesso ho convocato una riunione con Ban Ki-moon, Kerry e il ministro degli esteri egiziano per coordinare le posizioni della comunità internazionale, della comunità regionale, in vista dei percorsi da fare in sede Nazioni Unite. È chiaro che però il punto di partenza, e su questo anche non ci sono divisioni, il punto di partenza è che il dialogo che è in corso in questi giorni a Rabat porti ad un risultato positivo, almeno parziale ma comunque positivo. Noi abbiamo bisogno di partire dall'interno della Libia e il lavoro che stiamo facendo qui oggi e domani con i ministri degli esteri sarà volto a preparare in modo molto concreto tutte le misure che l'Unione Europea potrà mettere a sostegno della ricostruzione di una Libia degna di questo nome. Grazie. Thank you, and we talk again at the end of the meeting. We introduce this small innovation. We make a short press point at the end of the afternoon. Thanks. Bye. You should ask them.